Joining us now, two men kicked off the January 6th committee, Congressman Jim Banks, Congressman Jim Jordan. Jim Jordan, I'll start with you. Were you given a reason why you were kicked off the committee, one? And number two, you just heard from the Chief of Staff of the Department of Defense, confirmed by the Inspector General of the Department of Defense, that all the things they did were correct. Why were you kicked off the committee, and what are your thoughts about the issue of Nancy Pelosi and the mayor of D.C. rejecting Donald Trump's call for troops 2 days ahead of time?
No, I think that's why we were kicked off, because Jim and I were raising that question, and then we found out that she wasn't going to let us serve on the committee. First time in American history, frankly, Sean. First time this has ever happened. And I think she's afraid of getting to the truth. Why is it the Sergeant at Arms office will not, Nancy Pelosi will not let them release the communications and documents that surround this whole decision? Why is that? They won't release the information. So, yeah, we got conflicting testimony between the Capitol Hill police, who said the police chief said he requested the National Guard be there on January 6th. Sergeant at Arms says, no, you didn't. Conflicting testimony. So one guy says we asked for it, one guy says we did it. The guy who didn't is the one who answers directly to the Speaker's office, and that office will not release the communications between the Speaker's office and the Sergeant at Arms and the other communications the Sergeant at Arms have. So we know that's the reason why Jim and I weren't allowed to be on the committee, because we were going to ask that question.
Maybe I've been cynical in my old age. Why do I think probably they've been bleach bit by this time or smashed with a hammer? Congressman Banks, let me ask you, why doesn't this committee call before it subpoena Nancy Pelosi, the Sergeant at Arms, the Capitol Police Chief, and Mayor Muriel Bowser? Why aren't they being called?
Sean, the most important thing I read today on the internet was a piece from former Speaker Newt Gingrich in Newsweek, who said he knows firsthand, as a former Speaker of the House, that it is the Speaker of the House's responsibility to oversee the Capitol Police and oversee Capitol security. And it gets very uncomfortable when you go down that path. You realize that the breadcrumbs lead to Nancy Pelosi's office. And that distracts from the circus, the narrative. Today it was January 6th, the musical at the Capitol. That going down and following the breadcrumbs to Nancy Pelosi's office means that she was negligent. She oversaw a systemic breakdown of security at the highest levels of the Capitol Police that led to the Capitol being unsecured on January 6th. That gets very uncomfortable for Democrats to go down that path.
So we have, Jim Jordan, only people that voted to impeach the president, to the two Republicans that are the biggest never Trumpers. You two are both kicked off the committee. I don't see any effort to subpoena Nancy Pelosi or the Capitol Police Chief or the Sergeant at Arms or Mayor Bowser. My question is, does that then make this a sham committee with a predetermined outcome, whose only goal is to bludgeon Trump again and with the hopes of purging him from any future political run?
No, that's exactly right. Shows how partisan it is and, frankly, how out of touch it is. Think about it, Sean. We've had record crime, record inflation, record number of illegal immigrants enter the country over the last year. And what are the Democrats doing today? Oh, they're having the cast of Hamilton come sing a song on Zoom, for goodness sake. So it shows how out of touch they are and how much they want to go after President Trump. But the most disgusting part of the day was what you referenced in your monologue, where the Vice President of the United States says January 6th was the equivalent to Pearl Harbor, was the equivalent to 9/11. Tell that to the granddaughter whose grandfather gave his life on D-Day. Tell that to the son whose dad was one of the firefighters who went into the tower on 9/11. Or frankly, tell that to Max Soviak's family. Max Soviak, one of the 13 people from our district, one of the 13 people who gave his life for our country this summer. Go tell that to them. This is from the same lady who was raising money to bail people out of jail who attacked law enforcement in the summer of 2020. Go tell that to those individuals. That's how ridiculous and out of touch the Democrats
Last word, Jim Banks, I only have 30 seconds. We lost dozens of Americans, thousands of injured cops, billions in property damage. The Democrats either were silent or said the protests in the summer of 2020 were mostly peaceful. Where's that committee?
It doesn't exist. 2,400 police officers were hospitalized from BLM riots in the summer of 2020, Sean. And I've never heard a Democrat breathe a single word about those police officers because it doesn't fit into their anti-Trump voter narrative. They don't want to talk about that. They obviously want to create the circus that they've created today.
I'm sure you both have great confidence in Adam Schiff, who led one of the greatest post-election lies for 3.5 years and dragged the country through hell. He sits on this committee. You can't make this Adam Schiff up. You really can't. Thank you both. Appreciate it. You should be on the committee. It shows how corrupt they are.